All right, so we are live. I'm super excited with my guest today, Tamir Goodman, a basketball star. But before I kind of give him a proper introduction, I want to tell you about my experience with Tamir. I grew up in Philadelphia, as many of you know, and I've had the absolute pleasure. I've been a huge, huge sports fan growing up. And I've actually been watching a lot less sports recently, especially since I moved to Israel, because of the time zone difference. It wasn't worth staying up at night just to watch all the Philly sports teams lose my next day or two. But growing up, there was one person that I followed closely, especially when he broke through in Sports Illustrated about like 23 years ago, was Tamir Goodman. They like to call him the Jewish Jordan. Tamir Goodman, thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing more about your experience and your new tech startup.
Thank you very much. It's very, very great to be here, and I'm thankful for you thinking of me.
My pleasure. All right, so let's get into it. First, let's go kind of a little more chronological. So I want to hear more kind of about your upbringing, and then maybe how you went pro, and then maybe we can get into the kind of like your Aliyah and your tech company Aviv Sports, and something really cool that you're doing there in that space. So tell me, so you said you grew up in Baltimore, right?
Correct.
So what was it like growing in Baltimore? What did your household look like? Did you come from a house of like athletes? You know what I mean? Was athletics pushed, or how did you get into basketball?
Yeah, I just grew up in a very, very blessed that I grew up in an incredible home full of love and support. And there was definitely a lot of love for athletics, but I wouldn't say anybody pushed me into athletics. It came from a love. Our family loved sports. My brothers, older brothers played and stuff like that. But I just loved it a lot more than just a game. I very clearly remember after losing to my older brothers in a game, coming into the kitchen and I was crying, and my brothers told my mother, they said, tell Tamir to just take it easy. We're supposed to beat him. Or his older brothers, why is he so upset? And I just remember crying and looking at my mother and saying, well, to me, it's not just a game. Basketball means a lot more than just a game. It really, really means so much to me. So I think at a young age, my family and my community, everyone realized that basketball was something very dear to me, probably more than a typical kid.
Now, did you find that to be annoying?
I didn't find it to be annoying because I think pretty quickly they realized that I was very serious about this, because I started going to school like an hour before school to play in the gym, and I'd stay after school. I wouldn't go home. I'd stay for 3 or 4 hours after school and go to the gym, and just every chance possible playing basketball or watching basketball. And I would in the summertime ride my bike to the park in the morning, and I wouldn't come home till the nighttime. And the entire day I was just at the basketball court, and for me that was heaven. So I think I was always associated with basketball, and I think that my family knew that it meant a lot to me. But more importantly, they never felt that never made me feel like my dreams weren't going to be able to be reached. I always had a lot of support, and very, very blessed for the community that I grew up in, because I had a coach, my coach who raised me, lived near us, and I just had the perfect environment to go after my dream.
Awesome, amazing. And so another thing that you obviously, which is one of the reasons why you've been elevated or highlighted, is because in addition to very, very, very few people that basketball is their dream and they want to pursue it professionally, come from a religious, let alone religious Jewish background. So was there, how much of that did that kind of like go together, like supplement each other? And how much of that did that kind of work, like was like made it challenging to have your two loves? And how much did they supplement and complement each other? And then how much did you find challenge bringing the two together?
So for me in my life and my upbringing, it was always one. There was never, spirituality and physicality. It was always one thing. Judaism's about taking something physical and uniting it with something spiritual. And so you could play basketball, but you got to try to play for the right reasons, in the right way, in the right time, and things like that. I think for the rest of the world, it was a challenge, or seen as a challenge, because Division I basketball, professional basketball, they play on the Sabbath, sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. So it was always like, okay, you think about how hard it is to get a Division I scholarship. Out of all the millions of people that play basketball, how many are actually going to get a Division I scholarship? Well, how many? And then throw on top of that you can't play from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. That just makes it even seem more impossible. So I think for the outside world, it was seen as impossible. But for me, and the way that I grew up, I was pretty it was pretty one. It was never like a separate thing. I knew that I could be a basketball player, but I was very clear like on what days I can play and when I couldn't play. For me, and I was very, very blessed that, and a miracle really, that Towson University was ultimately able to accommodate me and change the schedule so that I was able to live out my dream. And basically do something that was seen as impossible.
Amazing. How hard was that for them to do to go ahead and change that? A couple of things I'm thinking of recently is the new mayor of New York's being sworn in. I think he's sworn in on Saturday, and he made sure to be sworn in after Shabbat, so the Jewish community can join him. I find in sports and also in Israel, unfortunately, that it's very challenging to both be Shomer Shabbat and to play professionally in any sports. Do you feel that sports organizations are doing enough to ensure that they can be more inclusive? Because people talk about inclusivity, but I feel like Jews often get ignored.
Well, I think in general, the world's in a much healthier place nowadays, with respecting different people and their cultures, which is really nice for me to see. I think 20 years ago, I was just blessed to have an amazing coach, that Coach Jazz, who went out of his way with the staff and the entire team. Actually, the team went to coach and said, "Hey, we read about Tamir in the paper. Can you go recruit him and learn more about his religion?" And coaching staff was so focused on learning the days, the times, the Jewish holidays, and the Shabbat, and putting together a proposal and really pushing it and making all the adjustments so that I was able to be accommodated, which I'm forever grateful for. And every day I think about that miracle every day. But I think Coach Jazz was, over 20 years ahead of his time as far as like inclusivity. So I'm happy to see what's going on in the world right now. And I'm also very thankful that I got to be around the right coaches at the right time that were ahead of their time, that were able to accommodate me. And I'm forever grateful for that.
That's awesome. So recently in the baseball draft, right? I think two Orthodox players were recently drafted, right? I think one said he'll play on Shabbat, but he'll obviously stay at a hotel near and he'll walk and the other one won't play on Shabbat. And I think he's working on, I heard he's switching positions to be a catcher because catchers get a day off a week because it's very physically demanding. What do you think there's kind of a push for more awareness and understanding of people of maybe welcoming people that can't play, such as Jews, on certain days of the week? And how do you think this is perceived from, let's say, other athletes and fans when they think, let's say, where you are, when they were accommodating and move schedules around just for you? Do you think that do you think other people feel that you're getting special treatment, maybe even at the expense of others that others wouldn't get? And do you feel like the new baseball players that are now in the MLB that are Shomer Shabbat, do you find that to be more challenging to accommodate because they play every day, unlike basketball that plays every 2 to 3 days?
Well, I'll tell you, for us at Towson University, it actually became a really great positive. I definitely remember that, practice was supposed to be on Friday night, and instead of Friday night, it was moved to Friday afternoon, and practice would end before sundown to accommodate Shabbat, even nobody else on the team was Jewish. But then it gave the rest of the guys on the team, a chance to
Party.
have it off.
I mean,
So,
party. Get the party.
so, so I remember on Friday afternoon, we, instead of saying 1, 2, 3 Towson, we would say 1, 2, 3 Shabbat Shalom. Like everybody on the
Adorable.
team, was like excited and united. And I think a big part of it was I knew that I had to do my absolute best to try to do as well as I could in school, to do as well as I could in the weight room, to do as well as I could at practice, because I knew that they were accommodating me. So I
Right.
think that all the young players now are doing a great job of that, as well as making it as inconvenient as possible. And I think if you try to prove yourself and you gain the respect of your teammates, and you try to do all the right things, ultimately the team could be united by something like this instead of separated. And it could actually be a positive. I could also remember, like, times where we would eat at non-kosher restaurants before games and things like that. And I could not eat the food there, so I'd have to bring my own food into the restaurant to eat with the team. And I clearly remember, like, this is just one of many examples where, like, a restaurant wouldn't want me to come in with my own styrofoam platter of food, kosher food, and then the guys would say, like, look, if you don't let Tamir in, the whole team's not going to eat here, and it ended up being
Wow.
really like uniting part of the team. So I think there's two things to it. It's like the athlete has to prove themselves as much as possible, and then the team has to rally behind them. And from everything I'm hearing or reading, thank God I've been in touch with both families, the baseball players over the years, especially Coach Steinmetz, who's a dear friend of mine. So it seems like everyone's doing all the right things and the world's in a healthier place, and it's very exciting to see what's going to happen.
You know, it's interesting because you said you have a greater responsibility because if you want people to be more accommodating, you're expected to bring your like A game, be a total mensch all the time, on and off the court, and you be accommodating however you can. Uh, would you say it made you? Do you think the goodwill and accommodations that you received, how has that affected, let's say, your behavior, how you practice? Did you become even more of a mensch, or do you, you know what I mean? Were you able, did you practice more? Did you feel greater obligation to practice more, do more, work more, and help more because you felt that you were accommodated to begin with?
Well, I just think that for sure basketball, I mean, I'm not perfect and I just make a million mistakes every day and try to win every day, but I definitely think that basketball helped me my relationship with God and Judaism because it wasn't just going through the motions or some history book, something that I was living every day. And I think the guys picked up on that. For example, they saw me playing on a fast day without eating or drinking. Okay. They
Wow.
saw me getting off a bus on Friday afternoon in Connecticut after a practice at UConn and the sun was going down and I just couldn't try, and it was about to be Shabbat, and I just got off the bus and would walk in the snow, just to get there for Shabbat. They saw a lot of the sacrifice, they saw a lot of that, and I think that just made them want to respect me more, and our relationships got forged even stronger. So that all these years later, my brothers from Towson University, I'm still in touch with them on a daily basis, and there's a tremendous amount of mutual respect, friendship, and love, and um, I'm forever grateful to those guys. But yes, basketball definitely helped me be a better Jewish person.
That's awesome. Uh, I'm out of curiosity, where are those people now, generally speaking? Are they still involved in basketball or they kind of moved on, have their own careers not related to sports?
Both. Some are still in basketball. Some are coaching. Others are have regular jobs in the tech world. And my roommate Mohammed, for example, he was a Muslim basketball player, and we're still in touch, and we love each other like crazy. And he's very into tech. He had a really nice position with Facebook up until recently, and now he's doing his own thing. But yeah, everyone's moved on, and I think like when you're part of Division I basketball program, you're given the life skills and the characteristics you need to move forward in life and continue reaching your dreams, because you learn how to be resilient, you learn how to be a team player, you learn how to have very good time management, you learn how to win the day. Like basketball, these messages live with you for the rest of your life. So the guys are doing really well, and I'm really proud of them.
Awesome. So just you actually made me think of thing. Enes Kanter, or now Enes Kanter
Yes.
Freedom. So speaking of Muslim basketball players, I mean, I don't follow sports as closely as I used to, but I'm a big fan of his. Let's say just of his character. Uh, I feel like those that make, and this is me thinking as a marketer, that those that make the biggest splash, not related to actual their output in basketball or in sports, but let's say how much they can grab media attention for good or for bad really elevates one's profile. In Ennis's case, I would say probably for the best. I probably has the greatest moral character in professional sports right now, in my opinion. Do you feel, was there like a need or feel, did you feel that like you were elevated and you had more spotlight, but ironically, or maybe not, because of being an observant Jew and the challenges that that created, and therefore that made a more interesting story? And do you feel that professional athletes are drawn to comment on things culturally, socially, and so on because that would help elevate their brand?
Yeah, I think that for me, I get to talk about myself. Like, I think sometimes in life, it's like what you don't do instead of what you do. And I think sometimes that is what makes like a lot of noise. And it wasn't like I ever asked for the noise or went after the noise or wanted the noise. I still today don't like it. I never did like it. I like keeping a very simple life. But once, all this media attention was thrown on me, I tried to figure out a way to help other people and inspire other people through it. And, um, you know, there was a lot of times in my life where I said no. I said no to things, and said no to things that other players or other people in the world thought I was crazy for. But
Can you give an
I did
example?
it because what's that?
Like what?
Like I could have played at Maryland, at the University of
Right.
Maryland, if I was willing to play on Shabbat. I would have been on a national. I would have had a national championship ring right now.
Right.
But I said no. I said no out of respect. I'm still in touch with them. I'm very close with a lot of the people that were involved with the team, but for me, Shabbat was more important than a national championship. So sometimes it's about saying no, and I never did it for media attention. I never even thought about. I never crossed my mind to say, well, if I say no to Maryland now, then this and this. It just always making decisions from my heart and doing what I believe is right. And I went through a lot. I went through so many challenging things, and looking now at the next generation of players, it makes me really happy to see, probably the most happy. And I was talking to my coach about this yesterday, actually, that their path is a lot smoother now. They don't have to go through a lot of things that I went through, and that makes me feel really great, because I feel like hopefully they could use my story as like a way to help them navigate through some of the challenges. And I think also the world, it's not as new. It was almost like when I was doing this 20 years ago, it was like, who is this guy? What is he talking about? What is Shabbat? What is kosher? Why is he saying no to the University of Maryland? Like, what is this? And no one really knew. It was so new. It was like, I had to I had to graduate from a new high school. Then instead of going to Maryland, I went to Towson. And then after Towson, I only got to really play there 1 year. And it's like every step of the way, there was like another roadblock, another change, where now the players have much more stability and the world is much more accommodating. And to me, that just makes me so happy. It makes me feel like so many things that I went through that I maybe couldn't have understood at the time were very much worth it, because ultimately that was my purpose. That's why I was given basketball.
That's awesome. And that's awesome that you were able to pave the way for other people to come behind you and have an easier time. So other communities that are underrepresented or difficult to represent in professional sports, they can now. Can you give me an example of what is now easier? So if there was, let's say, a Tamir Goodman Jr., and there might very well be one, and he wants to play pro ball and he's definitely good enough, would you think Maryland would accept him now, or how would it work?
Yeah, I just think it's not as novel. First of all, Yeshiva University, look at what they're doing. They won 50
Right,
games.
with no, it's unbelievable. I was reading people don't even care that they win anymore. It means nothing, right? They
I
got used
know
to it.
50 games in a row is so hard. They have NBA scouts coming to their games. The high schools that are feeding into the college systems now, like, it's not a novelty. You have a kid that says, "Hey, I want to be a professional player." It's no longer like they're like, "What do you mean?" That's like, "What do you mean you want to do it?" Like, now it's like there's like a path. It's acceptable, and I think it's a mindset change that happened over the last 20 years. That's fascinating to see, not only in the Jewish world but other religions as well. And I'm glad to be in touch with players of other faiths as well.
Awesome, amazing. So you talked about some of the challenges of kind of being a trailblazer as an Orthodox Jew playing in basketball. How was it easier? What were the advantages?
The advantages of, like, so first of all, getting up early for prayer, my whole life, it helped me when I got to college basketball, because you need to be in the weight room at 6:30 every day.
Mm,
And for me, I was able to pray even before then, and getting there by 6:30, it wasn't such a change for me. It was something that I was used to. Long days. We had dual curriculum in high school, so we'd have school until
right.
6:30, and then in college you're getting out of class at 12 o'clock. And
For
so
those that don't know,
6:30
dual
every.
curriculum means basically he did all the secular studies that everyone else does, plus he had another 3 hours, 4 hours of Jewish studies a day.
Correct.
So
So
basically, you went to two schools. I did that too growing up. You went to two schools. So when
you
we
went
were
in
getting
there.
out, I remember public school were getting out at 12:45 in high school. I was there till 5 p.m. and then Thursdays was like till like 8 p.m. or something like that.
Exactly. So I think that was very helpful. I think growing up on the religious values of respecting everyone, understanding that everybody's made in the image of God, helped me a lot to be able to unite with my teammates from all different types of backgrounds, and use basketball as a platform to bring people together. Um, the list goes on and on. Like eating healthy, taking care of your body. Um, now, like, a lot of like mental strength exercises, a lot of it comes from Judaism. Mental health, like being mindfulness, all of that for me was stuff that I grew up with in Judaism, and it helped me very much in basketball. And I think the thing that helped me the most was, like, when there was so much pressure on me and 700 interviews in 1 week, and It's like, and things are going so well and I'm winning big games. And like, how do you handle all that when you're only 16 or 17? Because for me, it was never about me. It was always about something bigger than myself. So that really helped me. And then when things were bad and I messed up and things weren't going well and I wasn't playing well, again, I couldn't feel too sorry about myself because there was a bigger mission here. It wasn't just about me. So I think that cushioning of religion, of not it being about me, but about being this mission or this greater goal out there, it helped me stay more balanced during the good times and the bad times, and that was very great for me. Very great, very beneficial for me.
Amazing. So you've made Aliyah, right? When did you move to Israel?
I played professionally in Israel from 2002 until 2009. Then we went back to America, and we've been back now for 8 years.
So so when you came to Israel to play, is what drew you the most is the fact it's much easier to be an Orthodox Jew to play, or what was it that drew you to play to Israel more than anything?
Yeah, I always wanted to play in Israel. That was my goal. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and I wanted to be close to her here in Israel. But I felt like my goal was to prove to the world you get a Division I scholarship without playing on Shabbat. And once I did that, and I was able to start as a freshman, I was able to win the coaches award as a freshman, and really prove that it was possible, and have good games against Villanova, have good games against Michigan, show the world that you could really do this. And I just felt like with a couple of things that happened to me after that, with the coaching change and some of the challenging situations that happened with the new coach, I felt like, okay, I did it, I proved it. The path will be smoother for the next generation of players. Now I could go to Israel and continue on with the rest of my dream. And that's kind of how it played out.
That's awesome. I love how your first and foremost your thought was how can I make things easier for other people by leading an example and setting and making it easier for other religious Jews behind me to come and play. And then you said, okay, now that I did that, now let me go and continue to fulfill my other personal dream and professional dreams.
Yeah, a lot of
I
people
found
don't
it
know this, but I was actually offered a professional contract at a high school to come to Israel. And I turned it down because I wanted to prove to the world and make it smoother for the next generation of players. And I said, after I prove it in college, then I'll be
beautiful.
glad to take care of myself. And that's exactly what I told coach at the time. So, uh,
Amazing. So so when you played here, right? And then you said you went back to America. Why'd you go back?
because I got hurt. I got hurt. I wasn't able to play again, and I had to finish my degree. I wanted to finish college, and I wanted to go after my first invention, which was on 190. And then my father and my father-in-law both passed away within that period. So after we buried both of them, we were ready to move back.
Got it. Understood. Okay, cool. We have, by the way, you have a lot of fans here and a lot of loving comments. Moises asks, what are your top tips for Olim as someone who I guess kind of did it twice, which so did I, by the way.
Thank you for the question. I think the top tips for the Olim would be try to enjoy the moment as much as possible. Take everything, all the benefits that Israel has to offer, and I think if we focus more on all the great things that we have, by being here that are offered to us by being in Israel every day, it helps with the other stuff that may not be as fun to deal with sometimes.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, and this one's just to give you a hard time. Tamir's a total mensch all the time. True or false?
uh, I try to win every day. I can't say that I win every moment. That's for sure. Just I am trying to get better every day, though. That's for sure. I try to win every day.
Where's your greatest personal challenge on trying to be a better mensch? Do you have one that you find that comes up a lot, or what's your personal greatest challenge?
I'd say my personal greatest challenge is when there's like I'm feeling really, really overwhelmed and there's a lot of stuff to do and I just can't take care of it. When I feel like I need to do a lot of things and for whatever reason, either whatever's going on and I can't take care of what I need to take care of, I need to take a deep breath and realize, like, I always tell myself, it's all going to work out and everything's going to get taken care of at the right time.
Amazing, love it. So you moved back. You moved back to Israel after your father and your father-in-law passed away, right? What made you? Did you know when you went back because you got injured and to finish your degree? Was the intention at that moment to come back to Israel, or when you finished the degree? What were you thinking going into it?
Yeah, no, we always knew that we wanted to raise our kids in Israel. We always knew that. And it was just a matter of when we were going to come back. And we had our first product, which started to take off really nicely. We had NBA sales. we had a nice article in Sports Illustrated, and we started getting a lot of orders. So we were very confident that it was time to move back to Israel. And then unfortunately, when we got back here, we realized that it was that a company had basically taken our product, and yeah. So
Sucks.
that was a challenging moment, but looking back now, it was a hidden blessing, because ultimately we won, and they had to take down their marketing materials, and I learned so much throughout the process. And it's that whole process and all that pain has helped launch Aviv in a much healthier and smoother and better way, specifically because of everything I learned from what happened with Zone 190.
Amazing. But by the way, you said something there that maybe I'd like to maybe pull out a little bit more, is when you have like challenges such as the ones, let's say, that you had, is that you beat the crap out of these challenges that come up, because the lessons in them, like you said, you've learned so much. I mean, the best lessons only come through like huge challenges and obstacles and what appears to be setbacks, and getting those lessons out of that and really will bring you forward. I know so many people looked at, me included, some serious challenges that I had both professionally and personally. And at the time, it felt like devastating, like the end of the world. And now looking back at them, you understood the bigger picture, how it played a bigger part. Because I was able to, extract all of the learning from it. When you come, what did you learn from that experience that you were able to apply going forward?
I felt like if I was ever to launch a product again, I couldn't do it myself. Like, I knew that I was very creative because I'm very dyslexic. I knew that I have the creativity. I knew that I have thank God, a great reputation within the basketball world. But I needed a lot of help. You need massive amounts of marketing, even if you know a lot of coaches. For me, in the basketball world, or players, you really need great marketing. I really need great, like, business management, people that, someone that could really close the deals and make healthy business decisions, really savvy people with, like, the IP. And I really needed help. I launched Zone 190 with one prototype and one trailer, and I sold like 50 units from that one prototype, just by going to 50 different gyms, and that's how I was able to pay for the first production run. But that it wasn't, I needed a lot more than that. And this time around, having David Warshawski from W Ventures, it's been a dream come true for me, because we work together really well. He's really great at all the things that I just mentioned that I needed the most amount of help in, and that's been able to really help our Aviv launch, which is going really quickly, and really thankful for. So I think it's like a matter of knowing where you need help, and understanding what you are good at, and not just taking an investment for money, but making sure that you're really building the right team, as you try to bring a product to market. So those things I definitely learned through the pain of everything that happened with me at Zone 190.
Got it. Okay, so Aviv Sports, you mentioned it. Aviv Sports is your current, that's your current company, that's your tech company, your brand, and I find it very interesting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is, because it's like all genius ideas, it's simple.
So I actually had to really face my fear to launch it, because I was in the middle of a lockdown, and I was just coming off of what happened with Zone 190, and I'm like, my daughter, basketball shut down, tourism shut down, like all the ways that I was making money. I'm looking at my 5 kids in the living room, like, well, okay, what am I going to do now? So she's like, why don't you launch something else? And I'm like, well, why would I want to launch something else if someone could just steal it? And but I got an email from the Basketball Association that said, hey, if we ever go back to basketball, this was during the lockdown, no one even knew when we were going to go back. They're like, if we ever go back to basketball, every kid needs to bring their own ball. We can't pass a basketball anymore, because the bacteria is like being transferred on the ball, and you could make your teammates sick. So my first thing was like, okay, I can't believe we got to the point where I can't even pass a basketball anymore. Like, what am I going to, like, this, what is my life? Like, what's going to happen to me? Right. And the players that I love. So then I was like, well, why don't we use the net as a tool to clean the ball, off from the bacteria and then allow the players to play safely. And also there's been a long-standing problem in basketball playing with a slippery ball that's gross and full of sweat. So I'm like, there's so many great materials out there. Why don't we, create a net that could dry the ball from sweat, solve that problem, and also take off the bacteria so that we can continue to play the game that we love while keeping the players safe and helping them play better because the ball won't be as slippery. So that was my first initial thought, and was able to reconnect with David, my longtime friend, who was actually a coach who has a really big PR agency, and told him the idea, and he loved it right away. And we're full force thinking about the net right now, 100%. But we have like 4 or 5 other products that are also within reimagining the world of sports, and we're also hoping to bring back the Zone 190, but through the Aviv brand now. So a lot of
amazing.
On.
So I want to hear more about those, but before you get into it, tell me, what does the R&D look like in order to make a net that, like, because the entire ball doesn't touch the net, right? Probably like 80% of it does. I don't know. You tell me. How to explain to me like the technology of this, and what kind of challenges did you have as you started to do the R&D that was involved?
The biggest challenge was finding someone that would work with us. Almost every single person turned me down. The second, I would walk into one of these textile companies and say, hey, I have an idea for basketball. They're like, no, we make sheets, we make shirts, we make linens. Why are you coming here with a basketball? Right. So it wasn't until the last textile company that I went to, a company called Ikar in Ra'anana, or Ikar, some people call it Ikar, where my friend, who's now a dear friend of mine, his name is Amit, he's a master in textiles and materials and yarns and fabrics, explained to him the idea, and he literally, for a year now, we've been working together to come up with the perfect recipe of combining high performance materials that focus on very powerful drying and very powerful antimicrobial, so that we could get the best results every time the ball goes through the hoop. So if you think about it, when you shoot a ball, because you follow through, so the ball is actually spinning through the net. Dropped. It's spinning through. So our first results that we got from High Labs have been really, really great from testing. We're going one more round, and we're actually now in full production, but we're gonna publicize the actual numbers very soon. But we're really excited by the results.
Yeah, I see you're holding back your smile when you say we're gonna publish the numbers.
Really, really, really exciting, because it's one thing to have an idea, but then it's another thing, like when you see how functional it is and that it works.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
After the first round of results, I told David and my family, I said it was the first time in a year that I was able to sleep almost through the night, because I was so happy that it works.
Do you have sleeping problems? What keeps you up usually?
I don't have sleeping problems. It's just like I feel like I have so much to do every day, and I get an early start. Today I probably started my workout at 4:15. Most days I get up around like 3:45, 4, start my workout.
So what is your day? Why don't you take us through your day, starting with what time you go to bed?
I try to go to bed around like 10:30, and I usually get up around 4 or 4:30. Most days, I always start with my workout, and I study Torah. I listen to Torah class while I work out. That's how I start my day, and then I pray, and then I either start coaching at 6 or at 7. Basically almost every day I'm in the gym by 6 or 7, training future players, and I usually do an hour of coaching a day. Then I come home and help the kids. We got 5 kids, so the dog and 5 kids, try to get everybody to where they need to go, and then I start my day, emails, meetings, interviews, scouting, camp preparation, and then there's always like special programming going on, different charity initiatives that I'm involved in, sports consulting, helping, connecting, charity events. I have a book that's coming out, a children's book. I have a movie that's coming out, a documentary about my life, a lot of projects, and then a lot of time sports consulting, and Aviv. Aviv is around the clock. We've been getting pre-orders. We're dealing with stores, retailers, coaches, conferences, leagues. It's been really, really, really exciting.
That's awesome. What is your hardest part of your day?
The hardest part of my day is trying to find the balance, like when my kids are home, trying to be there for them, for everything they need. I'm very involved. I know their schedules. I know their homework assignments. I know, I just trying to be there for them, the balance of being the best father and husband that I could be for my family while I have all this other stuff going on.
Amazing. What time do you stop working out or working during the day?
I work out twice a day. I work out, like I said, my early morning one, and then after lunch, I work out again. And I don't have a car. I ride my bike everywhere. And I say I probably stop working around like 10:30 at night.
Okay, wow. So you work up until 10:30. You're working
Yeah,
out,
like
you're
I'll take
saying.
a break when my kids are home, like when they get home for the afternoon, help them get to gymnastics, help them get to basketball practice, homework, dinner, all that type of stuff. Put the baby to sleep, and then I'm back at it. My wife and I are good teammates.
Amazing. Does she have a background in athletics?
Yes, she does, and she's actually a nutritionist, and she has a coaching degree, but she works for Quality Score, which is a
Oh,
big
very
market
cool.
company in Tel
I know
Aviv.
they are. Awesome. Very cool. I'm very familiar with them. Awesome. Very cool. Awesome. Amazing. So you have your one product right now that people know about, and you said you have a few more that I want to ask you about them in a moment. How are you currently going to market? How are you selling it? First off, do you have any customers, or what is it? Like you just have like a prototype? Where are you now, and how are you getting your sales? How are you distributing it? Are you tapping into your network in order to get meetings with the right people, or is kind of PR plus your reputation of, as people in the comments like to say, an all-out mensch, is helping you? What's really helping you move things? Get
So
what kind of, like, what do your sales look like, and how are you getting those meetings in order to sell your product?
yeah, so it's like multifaceted. We're having a lot of pre-orders from around the world, which are great, like high schools and backyards and things like that. We just closed our first professional league with the TBL, so we're going to be the official net for all 44 teams across America and Canada.
That's
We're
amazing.
Yeah, we're in final talks with other Division One conferences that we're hopefully going to be able to announce who they are in the beginning of January, and we just closed. We just closed. We just signed with one of the biggest sporting goods stores in the world. Probably, yeah, we did, but I can't. I'm going to mention that also who that is in the beginning of January. So we're going to be able to get a
Dick's.
lot of stores. I'm announcing it in January, and
The first time you
and
touched your face, I'm tired views when I said that. All
yeah,
right.
we're going to be announcing in January, and also we're also going to be there's some other really cool, exciting partnerships and distribution models that we're hopefully going to be able to share also in the beginning of January. There's a lot of exciting things going on right now, so very, very thankful for it.
How much is it going to retail for if I were to go into a sporting good?
$19.99. So
That's
the
it?
whole yeah
Wait,
the
how much
whole
is a regular? Sorry to interrupt you. How
right.
much does a
So
regular
like
net cost?
the whole business model is that basically you could get like a really good net for like $12 to $15, $12.99 to $15, and what we're saying is like for $5 more you could have a net that actually does something for you. That's going to hopefully keep you safer and allow you to play better. So if you think about like before performance enhancing, gear, like everyone just wore like a cotton t-shirt to work out in, but now
Right.
it's like everyone will wear like a performance enhancing shirt or shorts because it'll help you stay drier and help you run better, right? So it changed. So same thing with the net. The net is changing. It's changing basketball because it's like no longer is it just a net. It's a net that allows you to play
It
better and
dries the
keep
sweat.
safer.
I love it. You play better because it absorbs the sweat. I mean, when you play
Right.
full court hard, I mean, it's just a lot of sweat. I mean,
Correct. Correct.
just playing,
Right.
that defense is
Yeah.
unreal. You really get you sweaty. Amazing. Do you mind me? I don't know if you can answer this. What are your variable costs per net?
We're gonna know that really soon because we're not going to have that answer right now because our first shipment is a smaller shipment and we're also going to have to fly it in now
Uh-huh.
because of the situation. So we probably won't know until our second or third round where we're having like even more made and we're able to ship it in hopefully once all of this settles down. And we'll probably know that in our second or third round, but right now we're going to have to pay a little more than just to get them out the door right now because of the
Right.
situation, and we have to
Right.
fly.
Economies of scale, I'm sure will
Yeah,
also take you some production. Where are you producing?
Icar's factories. They're
Oh,
the
Navi, here in Israel. Amazing.
no,
Is that
they
right?
have factories different places around the world, but it's all spearheaded here in Israel.
Lovely. Excellent. Amazing. And so what are these other products you're working on? And another question, if someone has an idea to make any kind of sports equipment more safer, better, easier, more effective, is there a way that they can contact Aviv Sports with their idea?
Yeah, TG Tamir Goodman, TG at avivsports.com is my email address.
There you go.
So the only product that I could actually disclose is we're bringing back the Zone 190, which is really exciting.
What's that, Tamir?
My original multi-angle pitchback for basketball, and the other
What
one.
does that mean for those that don't understand, that let's say aren't active with basketball? What does that mean?
So before the Zone 190, if you would a pitchback, if you envision a pitchback, you throw the ball at a net and you catch the ball one dimensional. My idea was in basketball, you almost never catch the ball at a straightaway angle. You catch it from multiple angles. So I created a pitchback that's 190 degrees, so you could replicate catching the ball in the game from game-like angles instead of the traditional straightaway pass, which is unrealistic in basketball.
Amazing.
So that's the Zone 190. And then the other products I can't disclose just yet, but they're all within the realm of, reimagining sports, basically.
Are they all basketball?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know it makes sense. No, because you're familiar with these challenges,
Yeah.
and you can get it out to market better because that's where your connections are.
Right. It doesn't mean they'll all always be basketball, but just right now, that's what I got.
Good for you. Amazing, amazing. How many people work for Aviv?
Right now, it's basically David and I spearheading everything, but part of W Ventures, which is like the awesome thing about one of the most incredible things. There's a million things about working with David, but you basically get with W Ventures, you get his marketing agency. So we have the whole agency behind Aviv right now.
Amazing.
Which is incredible, and there's just too many people to list. Nicole is our director, but they're all doing such a phenomenal job on the design, the marketing, the logo. Like everyone's like so impressed with the logo. All the articles that are coming out, like it's all from David's office, and that's why I feel I really love working with W Ventures.
Amazing. What marketing company do they work with?
It's theirs. W Ventures is a part of Warshawski. Warshawski is like a world-renowned PR agency, and so if you become part of their portfolio company, one of their portfolio companies, you get to work with the marketing agency. And to me, after everything that happened with Zone 190, I realized that I needed a lot of marketing muscle, and that's why I'm so happy to be part of their portfolio.
Since your wife's a marketer, does she help there at all, or not? Or
Yeah,
too many cooks in the kitchen?
Yeah, no, she helps with everything. Like I said, I'm very, 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 very dyslexic, like extremely dyslexic. So she's always we're partners in every way and everything. She helps me with everything in every way, emotionally, physically, spiritually, writing, ideas, everything. We're always one, always have been, and always will be. We're very, very blessed. Everything to us stems from our oneness.
Actually, I think people would find this interesting. When I a week or two ago, I sent you just like a few short, just kind of questions, for you to just answer, and then and then I got a 5.5 minute voice note, and I was like, oh my God. This is the longest voice note. I'm gonna kill this man. And it started with I'm answering by voice because I'm dyslexic. I'm like, that actually makes it much easier actually.
Because if you had to read what I would write to try to answer all those questions with the way I write, it would take a lot more than 5.5 minutes. So
right, yeah, I'm sure.
I was actually saving you time.
Yeah, I just gave it to my assistant. She transcribed it. You've Rebecca, I love her. She's also, speaking of great marketers, collective. It sounds like we have actually good luck in now the market. Just curious, as I'm not dyslexic, but it's just fascinating. Is dyslexia like different for different people? Like if you took a different dyslexic person, I gave them the same questionnaire and they answered it, would it more or less the same letters and words be messed up?
For everybody, it's different because there's different levels, but basically your brain works in a unique way. That's what dyslexic means. Your brain works in a unique way. So for me, in certain areas, that gives me a lot of confidence, like with problem solving and creativity or vision on the basketball court. seeing things that other players don't see on the court. Like that was my confidence going into the game. Like I know I'm gonna be able to get the guys the ball where they want it, even if they don't even know they're open yet. Like that's how I go into the game. So you have to like take, you know, the blessings of dyslexic, and but at the same time like know where you need help. You can't make yourself a victim. You know, I can't feel, you know, you could get better at it. You could practice. You could get tutors. You could do all that. But I try to tend to think of the hidden blessings that come with dyslexic. But for everybody, it's different. Everyone is different. You know, I just know if I have to like write down a number or an address or anything, like copy something from one thing to the next, I'm toast. Like it's just not going to work. Like if I have to like take a bank account number and type it to someone or write, there's for sure going to be a mistake. Like always, like every time, or it just always. That's the way it is.
Amazing. We have a question from Facebook, so I can't pull it up. From my friend Lou. He made Aliyah, and a big basketball fan. I think his brother played for Maccabi years ago. Did you play for Brad Greenberg in Israel?
I did not play for Coach Greenberg, but we are in touch, and I'm super impressed with his career and his journey and everything that he continues to accomplish. It's really, really, really impressive.
Amazing. Excellent. Okay, so you have four. So so you're continuing your coaching basketball. What's that like? We covered your tech. I want to get an idea. Like, why are you coaching? I'm going to assume it doesn't pay well. I'm going to guess your answer is give back because allegedly you're a mensch.
So
what do you?
I'll just break down my
think?
coaching real quick. For like 8 years now, I've had a really strong relationship with Yeshiva University, the coaching staff there, and Stern. So on Tuesdays, I have about 4 or 5 players that will be most likely playing at YU next year. So I try to get them ready for YU. This is like going on 8 years now. And on Fridays.
Sorry. There is in Israel. You're training there. I didn't follow.
They're gap year kids that play
gap year.
In America. They're here for the year and they're going to play. So we try to help prepare them during this year in Israel to get them ready for YU.
Amazing, lovely.
So I've been doing that for like 8 years now, and on Friday.
That's cool. That's really cool. That's a cool gig you got. That's cool.
Fridays we train the girls for Stern. So that's that, and then the rest of the week, other than my camps, is charity based stuff, which is kids whose father passed away in a bike accident, or kids that are dealing with all sorts of social issues, or I'm just so many different kids from so many challenging situations of how I could use basketball to help them. I direct a nonprofit called Hoops for Kids. We have 38 locations throughout Israel, whether it's like asylum seekers, or kids whose parents are in jail, or kids who the court ordered like they're not allowed to go home. Who's going to help all these kids? Like Hanukkah candles, like we went out to coach them, do a clinic for them because like they can't go home for Hanukkah. So it's like a lot of that. And then, in the summers is my big season for camps and clinics and doing a lot of good things through basketball, bringing ex-NBA guys over to Israel and inspiring people and just trying to do a lot of good through basketball. But so I would say I have like 2 professional clinics a week where it's like really focused on getting kids to like higher levels. And then the rest of the time is charity, is giving back, I would say. Yeah. Helping.
Amazing. Amazing. If you can leave one thing for my audience, what do you think the one thing that they can learn from your very fascinating career that you think that they can apply to their personal lives or to their career to help them grow and also for them to give back?
Just answer a couple of things that my coach taught me that I guess still think about every day is just some of his sayings, like you never let society dictate what you can or cannot accomplish. Like your self-worth, you don't really need to prove to anybody else. Be proud of who you are and go for it. Try to better the world around you through your own unique talents. You're never as good as you think you are when you win. You're never as bad as you think you are when you lose. Just be very proud of who you are, have a strong identity. Try to be focused on winning each day, have great time management. Be mindful, focus on important relationships in your life. Try to take care of your body as much as possible and take care of your mind as much as possible. These are just some of the things that I think of every day. And I also think like you never lose out by helping other people.
Where's the best place to follow you, what you're doing, and also to follow Aviv Sports?
Yeah, so Aviv Sports is the website. All the handles are Aviv Sports. I'm Tamir Goodman. All my handles are Tamir Goodman and TamirGoodman.com. But I try to help every single person that ever reaches out to me. A big part of my day every day is just helping people, connecting people to other people, using my Rolodex to help people. Something that I try to do every day. So if I could help you, feel free to reach out to me, Tamir at TamirGoodman.com or TG at AvivSports.com. And just wish everybody out there lots of blessings. Whatever you're working on, you got it. Go make it happen, and no one can do it the way that you're about to do it.
Awesome. Final question. What was your favorite part of this conversation?
I guess getting to meet you and know you better. I only heard about you in the digital world, so it's nice to spend time with you and your followers. And big part of life is relationships. So I'm always glad to meet new people and be in touch with new people. So thank you.
Tamir, thank you for joining us. Guys, go out and follow Tamir and Aviv Sports. Go buy that $19.99 net that will be in almost all in main sporting goods stores coming out next year. Thank you, Tamir, for joining us.
Thank you.